Good morning, Wright State University, and welcome to the Wright Morning Show on WWSU. Start your day the right way with us. We will be covering current events in the news, local, national, and from Wright State. We will provide a daily dose of inspiration and positivity to lighten your day. And we will have a special feature depending on the day of the week. So grab your tea or your coffee, sit back, relax, and enjoy the Wright Morning Show. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the morning show, the Wright Morning Show on WWSU 106.9 FM for Wednesday, November 3rd, 2021. In the studio with me today, I have Jamie from the Guardian Media Group. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
I am trying to wake up. It's been a long week, and I still got lots more to go. On that note, we're going to get into our current events, and yesterday was a big day because it was the general elections. So, Jamie, I will start off with you on some of the results.
Yes. So Dayton Daily News actually has a ton of election coverage and the results of a bunch of different counties that surround Wright State or Raider Country. One of the biggest ones is Mims wins big in Dayton's mayor race. And that's the headline. And they have a quote, "I'm just beyond words," said the new candidate. So let's see. Two-time Dayton City Commissioner Jeffrey Mims Jr. will be Dayton's next mayor after easily beating challenger and political newcomer Renice Bowers on Tuesday, according to unofficial final results from the Montgomery County Board of Elections. Mims finished with about 67% of the vote compared to 33% for Bowers, the results show. Let's see. Scroll. Mims, 74, is a former educator and previously has served as the president of the Dayton School Board and Teachers Union. He said he wants to find ways for the cities to better communicate with residents and share the progress it is making. On the campaign trail, Mims said the city certainly has challenges, but it is headed in the right direction. And revitalization. It's a very hard word to pronounce on now. Is spreading to its neighborhoods. And then it just talks a little bit more about the opposing candidate, Bowers, who is an ex-fire chief. Also, Mims ran on the Democratic ticket. So if you want to learn more about the new mayor-elect for Dayton, you can go to Dayton Daily.
WHIO also has an article about him as well.
Okay. And then, as I was saying, there are a bunch of different results for the different local elections. Another one from Dayton Daily is Turner, Sloss, and Fairchild win Dayton Commission race. Let's see. Shanice Turner-Sloss and Dale Fairchild have defeated Stacey Benson Taylor and Scott Silva in the Dayton City Commission races, according to the unofficial final results from the Montgomery County Board of Elections. Turner-Sloss finished with 28.9% of the vote, while Fairchild won re-election with 28.7% of the vote, which is exactly the outcome they were hoping for since they supported each other and campaigned together. Oh, that's so cute, actually, that they campaigned together. Benson Taylor and Silva ran together on the same ticket, and both were endorsed by the Montgomery County Democratic Party. So that's cool that yeah, that's some of our new Dayton City Commissioners.
We have several commissioners and several school boards throughout the county who have been elected.
Yes. Let Let me see. As you were saying, 2 incumbents and 1 newcomer win Beaver Creek School Board seats. Let's see. Incumbent school board candidates Joanne Ringo and Krista. Sorry. Let me zoom in here. Kirsta Hunt won the Beaver Creek School Board races, as did newcomer Carl Fisher, according to the unofficial final results from the Greene County Board of Elections on Tuesday. 5 candidates competed for 3 seats, including Hunt, Riego, newcomers Allison Lindsay, and Fisher Mark Passage were a write-in candidate. So Hunt secured 28% of the vote, followed by Riego at 27%, and Fisher fell behind at the 2 incumbents at 22%, followed by Lindsay with 20%. So that is the Beaver Creek School Board. And also, Dayton Daily has a really nice list of all the different people who won these general elections, and broken up by county, such as Champaign County and Butler County, which is more near Cincinnati. So there's a great article on there if you want to go through the very, very long list of all the different new city commissioners and school boards. The title of the article is Election Results, Winners of Local Races and Issues, on Dayton Daily again.
Yeah, at least in Montgomery County, I think there was about a 21% voter turnout yesterday. So,
Woo.
Yes, thank you to the 21% who got out there and voted yesterday.
I always find, even though general elections normally see a lot less voter turnout than presidential elections, they're still very, very important and probably impact people in the local area probably a little bit more than some of the bigger elections, even though the bigger elections are still important. Point is, always vote. If you are registered to vote and you can vote, go vote. It's a good thing.
Yeah, so one of the areas where voting had a major impact, if you don't mind me interjecting here for a second, was the Fairborn jail sales tax. So this was a very controversial issue that was on the ballot this general election. This is a combination article. Let's see here. A 0.25% sales tax increase, issue 1 in Fairborn. That was to raise money for construction of a new county jail. It was failing $8,025 to $7,049 as of the article's publication, which was 9 hours ago. The tax increase, which was not a property tax, would be temporary and in effect for 16 years, and it would help build a 500-bed facility. There was a similar issue in 2020 where they wanted to build a 500-bed facility, and that one also failed. So one of the biggest arguments against funding a jail, at least in the Fairborn community, was that building another jail would not resolve the overall issues within the prison system. And so people did not support the building of a new Fairborn jail for that reason. So you can read more about that at Fairborn Daily Herald if you want to check that out. All right, Jamie, do you have anything more with elections, or shall we move on to other local news?
I feel like there's so much, you kind of just have to sift through it. But I think the biggest ones were covered, so we can move on if you like.
Yeah, the councils, commissioners, mayors, and school boards, I think, were very big yesterday.
Yes.
From WHIO, Huber Heights Studebaker Preschool Central Office is closed today due to a water main break. Huber Heights Schools posted the announcement on its Twitter page. Due to a significant water main break, Studebaker Preschool and Studebaker Central Office is closed today. Newsletter 7 is working to learn the cause. They do not have any updates yet. Let's see here. WHIO, 2 taken to the hospital after a fire in Dayton on Tuesday night. The fire happened a little after 10 p.m. in the 100 block of North Irwin Street. Montgomery County Regional Dispatch confirmed that 2 people had burns from the flames and were taken to Miami Valley Hospital. Newsletter 7 was working to learn how severe the injuries are and how the fire started. It's kind of coincidental that it happened around 10 p.m., which is when all of the precincts in Montgomery County were reporting for the elections. I'm not making any conspiracies. I just thought the timing was funny. Let's see here. Springfield News Song has an article about Mad River Township voters rejecting the rezoning proposal. Dane Daily News. Dane Daily News talks about this. So we had an issue yesterday counting the general election ballots. Originally, there were 5 or 6 candidates for the school board elections for the city of Dayton, and a few of them dropped out, and there were only 3, plus write-ins, of course. But they needed to hire 4 or elect 4 people, but there were only 3 candidates. So what ended up happening is even after all of the precincts reported, the Board of Elections decided that they needed to do a manual overnight count to figure out which of the write-in candidates are going to become the 4th school board member.
Oh, wow.
So I thought that was interesting.
That would be interesting, and it's like that when it happens when not enough people apply for the job, and you're just like sifting through it, like I just need a person. I really hope that they figured out that.
Yeah. See, this is just one example. Write-ins are not necessarily not important. They are still important.
Yes.
Especially for reasons like this when they need to elect more people than there are candidates.
Yes. Also, that just brings the point of always make sure you're following the directions on your ballot and filling out completely and fully, because there have been a lot of election, not controversies, but conversations over ballots,
Yeah.
and people not following the directions correctly. So directions are important, as with everything in life.
Yeah. So, an issue that did get passed from WDTN was the fire and police levy for the city of Riverside. It would raise taxes for some residents, but decrease taxes for others and generate funds for the police and fire department. 61% of voters approved the levy. We just really appreciate the support the community gives us and trust that they've placed in the good stewardship and effective use of tax dollars, Riverside City Manager Josh Roch said. We intend to carry this forward into the budget process and make sure that we're delivering the best and most effective services we can, given the resources that we have. The issue restores the full 100% income tax credit for Riverside, which was originally at 50%. Dayton Daily News has an article about a Camden man accused of sexually abusing four girls in Dayton.
Oof.
Dayton Salvation Army Christmas campaign is underway. Dayton RTA plans for possible staffing issues in case of the vaccine mandate. This is from WDTN. According to a release from the RTA, which, by the way, they are no longer accepting cash fares now. You have to use tap pay on the buses. I forgot to mention that. According to a release by the RTA, the agency has already worked to get its staff fully vaccinated by offering in-house vaccination clinics, essential worker PTO, and a cash bonus to employees who begin the vaccination process before October 31st.
Well, that deadline passed.
Yeah. As of Sunday, 74% of the RTA team is fully vaccinated, but it may not be enough. 74% sounds like a lot, but for the RTA, that's a huge number of staff that have not gotten the vaccine, and that can lead to some major cuts and loss of routes and services and things like that.
Yeah.
So, in the case that a vaccine mandate forces the RTA to work with limited staff, the agency is working on plans to run the current Saturday schedule through the week, Monday through Saturday. According to the release, Sunday service would not be impacted. So, essentially what they're saying is, if they have to enforce the vaccine mandate and lay off the other 25% who did not get vaccinated, they're going to switch to what is currently their Saturday schedule, and that's going to become the full Monday through Saturday for bus service.
Ooh, that's actually kind of rough, because
It is,
normally
yeah.
the weekend schedules have a lot less stops, and you could be stuck somewhere for the longer.
Yeah. Sunday's the roughest, but Saturday's also kind of rough in its own way, because on Sunday, at least the city and county buses have lineups downtown, whereas on Saturday, the city buses do not line up, but the county buses do, and it kind of throws things off.
Yeah, just like get on the wrong bus. Like, that's like one of my worst fears of taking the bus, is like accidentally getting on the wrong bus and being like stranded somewhere.
Oh, yeah, I've done that once. I've gotten on the correct route, but the wrong direction once.
What the fuck? Just like westbound, eastbound, yeah.
Yeah. All right, we are running way behind schedule, so we're going to skip right into the weather here. From tomorrow.io, the current weather is a chilly 29 degrees, but it is clear. The sun is shining. Get out there and enjoy the sun this morning. But be sure to wear your jacket and your gloves and all of that. The humidity is 81%. The wind is coming from the south-southwest at 2 miles per hour. The barometer is 30.42 inches. Visibility is good. Air quality is moderate. And we don't have to worry about UV index right now. The 12-hour forecast shows clear to mostly clear skies for most of the day, but there's going to be some clouds rolling in at 5 p.m. The temperatures are going to reach 40 degrees around 11:10 a.m., and then they are going to peak at 47 degrees at 3 p.m. before starting to cool off at 5 p.m. Your extended weather forecast from the National Weather Service, brought to you from Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Today, frosty and then mostly sunny, high in the mid-40s. Tonight, mostly cloudy, low around 30. Thursday, partly sunny, high in the upper 40s. Thursday night, mostly clear, low in the upper 20s. Friday, sunny, high around 50. It's going to start warming up here. Friday night, clear, low around 30. Saturday, sunny, high in the mid-50s. Saturday night, mostly clear, low in the mid-30s. Sunday, sunny, high around 60. We are looking for some low to mid-60s in the beginning of next week, so be sure to look forward to that. And there is no rain in the forecast for the next week, so enjoy that weather. We're going to turn over to Jamie now for the latest with the New York Times.
Yes, so this is some national news for you, again, all on the New York Times. The biggest top article here, again, is the election, but looking at it more on a national level. Let's see. I just want to quote some from this main article before we run through the highlights here. So this article, again, New York Times, it is called Republicans had a very good election night. Virginia goes red. Democrats had a rough election night. They lost the governor's race in Virginia, a state Joe Biden won by 10 percentage points only a year ago. In New Jersey, which Biden won by 16 points, the governor's election is too close to call. And then the article further talks about other governor's race in different states across the country and who won them and who also won in different House of Delegates. Let's see. Republicans also seem to be on track to win the lieutenant governor and state attorney general races and to take control of the Virginia House of Delegates. So it looks like Virginia is turning kind of red. So that I just thought this article was fascinating because it goes over not only it goes over national trends due to local elections that were happening in states yesterday and governor races. So you can read more on that in the New York Times. Let's see. To run through some of the highlights here. We first talk about the COVID-19 pandemic. The CDC formally endorsed the Pfizer vaccine for children 5 to 11. So that's good. The vast majority of active duty troops have received mandatory vaccines. And the big question this Thanksgiving is, are you vaccinated? So it talks a little bit more about
That's the
family
Thanksgiving dinner table discussion.
Yes,
yeah.
like table discussion. Like I feel like holiday, like all throughout this pandemic, holiday discussions I feel like have been the most interesting. And now with like the vaccine and everything, like you know, if you just want to do a turkey dinner by yourself, I don't think anyone would judge you.
Be sure to get your turkey vaccinated.
I don't know about that, but
with the turkey paster, of course, or
Yes.
whatever that thing is.
Let's see. Some sports news. The Atlanta Braves won the World Series, one of the city's only major sport titles in decades, beating the Houston Astros 7-0 in Game 6, and Georgia sits atop the first rankings of the college football playoff. Sports. Great. The Justice Department is suing to block a merger between Penguin Random House and Simon Schuster, both of which are publishing houses for books. Ethiopian officials called on citizens to pick up arms as rebels from the Tigray region near the capital. Oof. The Islamic
Dang.
State attacked a hospital in Kabul, killing at least 25 people. Another big oof. Facebook is shuttering its facial recognition program and deleting over 1 billion users' face scan data. Okay,
Ooh,
so
interesting.
that's interesting. And that is the highlights for this morning.
All right. I will go to Cheddar News Need to Know. From the Associated Press, Republican Glenn Youngkin defeated Democrat Terry McAuliffe to become Virginia's next governor, the first GOP candidate to win a statewide election in a dozen years. The Virginia results now show that Youngkin won by threading a tough needle, appealing to suburban voters who were put off by Donald Trump, while also turning out the Trump base of the GOP. Youngkin's campaign focused heavily on education issues, and exit polls show that independents broke for him late. His lieutenant governor will be Winsome Sears, a conservative Republican and military vet who is projected to become the first female and woman of color in the number 2 job in Richmond. Meanwhile, the other governor's race in New Jersey remains too close to call this morning. That's a bad sign for the state's incumbent Democrat Governor Phil Murphy, who was seen as a shoo-in for re-election. From CNN, New York City voters easily elected Eric Adams to be the city's second black mayor. In Buffalo, the Democratic incumbent Byron Brown, declared victory over the socialist India Walton on a write-in campaign after Walton beat him in the primary. Boston elected the progressive Michelle Wu as mayor, ending a 199-year streak of white men leading the city.
Okay, I see you.
Yeah. A pair of open house seats in Ohio went to a Democrat and a Republican. Minneapolis voters rejected a proposal to replace the police department with a new public safety department, while voters in Austin overwhelmingly shot down a ballot measure to hire hundreds of more cops. From Stat, nearly 30 million children in the U.S. can get a COVID vaccine as early as today. The CDC formally endorsed the Pfizer vaccine for kids aged 5 to 11, who will be inoculated with a smaller dose spread over 2 shots. The CDC estimates that every million doses will prevent tens of thousands of cases in that age group. The question is, how many parents will rush to get their young kids vaccinated? Recent surveys suggest only 1/3 of parents plan to do it right away.
That's actually really interesting because I think, like, I know when kids go to, like, elementary school and whatnot, like, there's some vaccines that are, like, just, like, required. Like, I remember, like, when I was younger, like, getting, like, the tetanus one or, like, the other one. So,
Smallpox, measles.
yeah, like,
Yeah.
the pretty standard ones. So I'm curious to see, like, what the, like, arguments or, like, what the, discussion is around that.
Yeah, I am too. Continuing on from ESPN, the Atlanta Braves are World Series champions for the first time since 1995. The Braves cruised to a 7-0 win over the Astros in Game 6 in Houston in a remarkable comeback for a franchise that was struck below .500 as recently as August. Atlanta's George Soler put an exclamation point on the season with a monster 3-run homer that left Minute Maid Park, and pitcher Max Fried threw 6 shutout innings to close the series. I don't know why, but I found that funny. Minute Maid Park and pitcher, like a lemonade pitcher.
Just like the puns on that could be endless.
Here we go. We were curious about the facial recognition software from Facebook. Here's something from Cheddar News on that. Facebook is shutting down facial recognition software. Parent company Meta, formerly known as Facebook, says it will delete the facial scans of more than 1 billion users who have opted into the service over the last decade. That means Facebook will no longer be able to automatically identify people to tag in photos and videos. The social media giant announced the change, saying it wants to find the right balance with the facial recognition technology that's been the subject of intense privacy concerns. Did y'all know that Google Photos does the same thing?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't think I even use
So
Google Photos.
It's not a social media network, granted. But yeah.
I feel like with all this new technology, I know there are, like, phones where you can unlock it with, like, facial recognition. So I feel like facial recognition software is just a reality we have to live with, like, in this new technological age.
Yeah. And from Bloomberg, Microsoft is working on its own version of the metaverse, complete with Excel and PowerPoint. That's interesting. The company is joining Facebook, Meta. I love how they worded that. In the metaverse race with a plan to build a virtual world inside its Teams software, specifically designed for office workers. Teams is also getting 3D avatars that could be used in both 2D and 3D virtual meetings as a replacement for your real face, for those days when you really don't feel like firing up the webcam. Wait, you could do 3D virtual meetings in Teams? I never knew that.
I don't even know how that would look. I don't know if I would
Like
want to conduct an interview that would be a 3D virtual meeting. I'm not ready for that.
A virtual job interview
Or
using
just-
a VR headset.
Or just, like, in general, like, I imagine, like, interviewing someone for an article that I'm writing or something like that would be very odd.
Mm-hmm. From SI, Las Vegas Raiders wide receiver Henry Ruggs III is being charged with felony DUI resulting in death after a fiery car crash near the Vegas Strip. According to police, Ruggs was behind the wheel of a Corvette that crashed into a Toyota RAV4, which then caught fire. The driver of the RAV4 passed away, and Ruggs and his passenger were seriously injured. The Raiders have released Ruggs, and he is set to be arraigned today.
Oof.
Ooh.
Don't drink and drive.
Yeah. From Deadline, director Christopher Nolan's next movie is shaping up to be a must-see. Matt Damon and Robert Downey Jr. have signed on for roles in upcoming World War II epic Oppenheimer, based on the story of the man known as the father of the atomic bomb. Nolan has already cast Cillian Murphy in the lead role and Emily Blunt for an unspecified part. Filming starts next year with a release on the schedule for summer of 2023. All right. Well, that concludes today's current events. We're going to go ahead and take a break. And when we come back, we're going to get into a short Chicken Soup for the Soul daily dose of inspiration. So you're listening to the Right Morning Show on WWSU 106.9 FM. Welcome back to the Right Morning Show on WWSU 106.9 FM. Here, this is going to be a quick daily dose of inspiration. We're going to talk about cats. How's that sound?
I love cats. I'm allergic to them, but I love them.
Oh, geez. That's quite a dichotomy there. All right. This comes from Chicken Soup for the Soul, my clever, curious, caring cat. And it's called Breakfast at Frank's. Here's a quote from A. Gill before we get into the story. Breakfast is everything. The beginning, the first thing. It is the mouthful that is the commitment to a new day, a continuing life. The article begins. Frank was a quiet little cat, but he always had his paw on the pulse of the family. When the household was happy, he spent his days serenely napping on the big burgundy ottoman. When someone was down, he hopped onto their lap to watch Animal Planet, eyes alert to the tabby face framed by a gray M. M for mindful, ministering. He knew how the house worked, what time I ran the fiendish vacuum cleaner, and what time we ate our meals. He knew when to disappear and when to show up, but because he especially understood the importance of a great breakfast, he was always on time. Mornings, when the alarm rang, if he wasn't still dozing between Bill and me, he'd meet me at the door, chatting nonchalantly all the way to the kitchen about how much he hoped that this morning wasn't mixed grill day, because he'd rather breakfast on something else. He didn't exactly threaten, but he let it be known that if it did happen to be mixed grill day, well, he just might have to run into the woods and rustle up a quick mouse. Life was too short, he thought, to ever, under any circumstances, eat mixed grill. Frank loved my family, especially my sister Allison. She and I had a chaotic childhood. Though it had made us close, neither of us had come out of it unscathed. We all deal with chaos in different ways. Allison dealt with hers with food or lack thereof. The only thing that ever made her feel like she had any control over her life was to stop eating entirely, which she eventually did. By the time she called me in Montana, she was very ill. Mom won't come, she said over the phone. I need her. I asked her, but she won't come. She says she can't leave her cat. Her cat. She's choosing her cat over me. I could hear the pain in her voice and the fear that if she didn't get help from someone, anyone, she might possibly not make it. Please come, Les. I'm sorry, were you going to say something?
Oh, I just said oof.
Oh. A few weeks later, Bill and I were staying at Allison's. We left Frank back home since someone had to hold down the fort, so the other two cats, Jelly Bean and Rocky, didn't burn down the house. He took on the responsibility gladly and merrily. He just loved minding things. Bill and I stayed at my sister's for 2 weeks, and it didn't take us long to realize just how sick she was. Alarmingly underweight. When she did eat, she fell asleep immediately. Nothing I did seemed to make her gain any weight or any ground. Mostly, however, her emotions kept her from progressing. Though she fully understood how sick she was, at times she just couldn't make herself eat, and we realized she needed professional help if she were to recover. Allison went into therapy, but it was going very slow, and finally she came to stay with us, and she fell under Frank's protection the minute she arrived. Frank loved her, and she hadn't been there long when he first suggested that they have breakfast together. He'd been out under the moon patrolling the woods as it was his habit. I was in the kitchen making our breakfast and chatting with him when Allison came in to join us, me for coffee and Frank for hopefully not mixed grill. Good morning, I said cheerfully, and how did you sleep? She didn't answer, just unfolded a tissue to reveal the limp body of a little mouse. Oh, yuck, that wasn't in the house, was it? No, she said. Pretty sure Frank brought it in through the cat flap. I frowned and she continued. It was outside my door when I woke up this morning, lying there like a gift. I'd heard of cats doing things like that, taking offerings to people they liked, but Frank had never done that for anyone, not in all of his many years, not once. How nice, I said with a laugh. It actually is, yes. I must look like I need a good breakfast, and I'm sure he would have made me one, except, no access to sausages and no opposable thumbs. Frank looked up at her earnestly. The M over his eyes now stood for something more significant, like medic or merciful or even motherly. So my sister did recover. She has a happier life now and a better idea of how to manage the scary feelings she internalized as a kid. I like to think that Frank helped her on that road by pointing out that sometimes the very first step to happiness is as simple as eating breakfast with a good friend, even if it's a cat.
Oh, I love cats. They're so magical. And I just, like, I really do believe that pets can feel the human's emotions and respond accordingly,
hmm
especially cats.
And that was written from Leslie Schneider. We have Lefty Chimuk joining us through Messenger right now. Because I forgot my phone today, I could not log into Discord to get her on the show. But Lefty Chimuk, if you could hear us at some point, send us a message about what is breakfast like for your cats, and can your cat sense the emotion and the vibe in your house? Because for context, for those listeners here, Laffy Chipmunk is a regular guest on the show, and she has probably about 9 cats now in her house. She has 6 adopted and three cats that she's looking for homes for. So it's getting pretty busy at her house.
Yeah, that's a lot of cats.
All right. Well, while we wait for her message, we're going to take a quick break. And while we come back, we're going to turn it over to Jamie for Wright State News because it is Wright State Wednesday. You're listening to the Rat Morning Show on WWSU 106.9 FM. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
And now, another Hoganism with Chris Hogan.
Very simple. Check your Wright State University email on a regular basis. And I say it somewhat selfishly so that you cannot miss out on any of the official communication from the university. But also on a personal level, once you get into your profession, whether you decide to work for someone or if you decide to go into business for yourself, email communication is going to be a part of your day-to-day life. So master that skill of knowing how to shift through and check email, know what's important, what maybe you don't need to respond to right away now while you're a student versus trying to develop that skill while you are a professional.
Hi, this is Shay Neal, General Manager of WWSU 106.9 FM, Dayton's Right Choice. We are so excited to have you back on campus, Raider Nation, and we can't wait for you to see the new WWSU. If you have a passion for music, marketing, sports, programming, or engineering and would like to get involved with our historic station, you can find us on our website at wright.edu/WWSU or on social media at WWSU1069. Feel free to contact one of the directors, and we'd love to help you get started. Enjoy your summer, Raider Nation, and we'll see you soon.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
If you love them enough to listen to them practice the same song on tuba,
Please be done.
over and over and over and over and over, then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right.
And we're back to the Right Morning Show. So Laffy Chipmunk responded with regards to her cats. They feel the vibes in the house and they eat whenever they want. So It is Wright State Wednesday, so we're going to go ahead and take it to Jamie now for the latest happenings at Wright State University.
Yeah, there's been a few things going on. Again, you can view all of these stories at wsuguardian.com and follow us on our socials at WSU Guardian on all platforms to stay up to date about what is going on campus. Let's see. The first story that we have here today is actually a story that I wrote. It's WSU sees uptick in assaults, crime remains consistent. So this article basically breaks down Wright State's campus crime numbers and compares it to other universities like Bowling Green State University and Kent State University, which are close to here and kind of like Wright State. Let's see. Here at Wright State, there have been 36 crimes in the past 60 days. So this was August to October. And I know, let's see, I also mentioned this article in the past 2 weeks, October 13th to October 27th, the Wright State Police Department reported 2 incidents of voyeurism in Wright car bathrooms and 2 incidents of car part thefts occurring in Lot 4. And I thought the car part thefts were a little strange. I'm not too sure why people are stealing car parts.
So I found out a possible reason. What does it say the exact car? I forget the name of the car, but they were a specific kind of car that that was being stolen. But this specific car apparently has some sort of valuable copper and gold in it, and people would take those cars and scrap them for money.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah,
That makes a lot of sense.
I think it was like a converter or Chrysler or something. I can't remember.
Probably like an expensive car. Let's see. And then the article, like I said, goes on to detail comparing Wright State to BGSU, and it just talks about kind of our numbers compared to that. So I find this is a very fascinating article. It's a fascinating article to write and to kind of get information from all the different schools. And I noticed that a lot of other schools deal with a lot of alcohol and drug crimes. We don't deal with that as much here on campus. We do deal with, however, a little bit more assaults here on campus. So I thought that was just it's a really interesting read if you just want to see how, like where we're at. And it also mentions resources if you need to prevent crime or if you want to feel safe on campus. Let's see. The next article that we have here, well, it's actually a garden gallery. I think this is quite beautiful. So definitely, if you get a chance, go and check this out. But it was the Now and Zen DIY studio. The picture is amazing. There's like plants and rocks. It's amazing. Let's see.
Now Zen DIY studio, interesting.
Yeah, it was the Dayton's Not Dead. It's a local business. So if you're feeling zen or just need a break from all the holiday hectics later this month, definitely DIY Zen Garden.
Ooh, and they got what are those called? Succulents.
Yes, succulents. I love plants and succulents. They're great to keep in dorm rooms too, and apartments. Let's see. The next article is actually from Culture Corner, which is our new section. But it says Chris Graves' photography displayed in Stein galleries. Photographer Chris Graves' The Truth in Ruin exhibition is on display in the Stein galleries from October 18th to December 3rd. Sorry, my laptop is loading. Okay, this is from Katie Jones, by the way. Using portrait and landscape photography, Graves' photos encourage viewers to think about issues like racism. So that is interesting. So if you're looking for something to do or see around campus, definitely check out the Stein Gallery. Let's see. The next article that we have up here is Boonshoff School of Medicine plans expansion amid national physician shortage. This one was also something that I wrote here, and it just talks about how Boonshoff School of Medicine plans to expand its classrooms because they're trying to admit more students. Because quite surprised. I don't know if it's surprisingly or not surprisingly, the nation is actually going to be facing a physician shortage here within the coming years, and how medical workers in general, especially with this pandemic, are very essential.
Mm-hmm.
The next article we have here is from Noah, a sports reporter. Women's soccer season ends in close NKU game. This season is over for WSU women's soccer after losing at home to the Northern Kentucky Norse on Wednesday night. Oof, we lost, but that's all right. We'll get them. We'll get them back.
We'll get them next year, as they
Yes.
say.
We'll be back. Another cool article is events on campus the week of November 1st, which is this week. So if you're looking for things to do, go ahead and check out that article, and it will break that down. Another fun article is the weekly horoscopes. So if you're feeling kind of off, maybe go check your horoscope. Areas of Rideau Country still seeing high COVID transmission rates. This is from Brendan from News. Counties surrounding WSU's Dayton and Lake campus remain at high levels of transmission for COVID despite daily cases decreasing. Which again, I believe we were talking about COVID numbers in general, and this past week or so they have gone up just slightly. And I feel like normally around this time of year they continue to go up. So that's definitely something interesting to watch. And let's see, we also have book club, importance and how to join. So if you're looking for a new thing to do or a new club to join, you could always join WSU's book club, and it will meet virtually November 16th to discuss the novel The Splendid and the Vile by Eric Larson. So very cool.
Nice.
And that is just some of what is going on campus at the moment.
All right. Let's see what the newsroom has. The Wright State newsroom has an article about C-SPAN's Book TV taping a book talk on firepower, how weapons shaped warfare by Paul Lockhart, who is a professor of history at Wright State. The taping will, I think the taping will air on November 5th. I think that's what they're trying to say.
Also, I will want to mention, Wright State Communications sent an email out about this the other day.
Oh, right. I forgot about it.
Today in Allen Hall from 2 to 5 p.m., the Army ROTC will be doing a weapons simulation training. So there'll be like a lot of loud noises and bangs and whatnot in Allen Hall. That's just a test. But if you don't like loud noises, then try and avoid Allen Hall if you can. But yeah, that is going on today. Just a heads up, FYI. Again, they sent an email about it yesterday.
Wright State Newsroom also has an article about Raiders Giving. So registration is now open for Raiders Giving meals. So if you are alone this Thanksgiving season or need a meal and can't afford to do your own Thanksgiving meal, you can register for Raiders Giving and join other students.
Also,
Actually,
I don't mean
are
to
they
interject here, but
Are they doing
again,
it virtually again this year?
I think they're doing it in person. And
Okay.
I know there's another like Raiders Giving. It's the LGBTQA Center is hosting it here on campus. It's called Chosen Family Feast. It's November 13th. I believe it starts at 6. It's right before Queer Prom. So if you're a part of the LGBTQA community and ally, and also need a meal for Thanksgiving or just want some company around this holiday season, you can definitely join the LGBTQA Center. There's been some signage and postage about that. It's also all over the LGBTQA Center's social media if you want more details. So there's two options here you can do. Maybe even if you want to do both, you could do both. But yeah, I believe Raiders Giving is actually in person again this year.
They have 4 different options too for meals. They have the traditional meal, vegan meal, gluten-free, and halal diet meal. You could go to wright.edu/RaidersGiving if you want more information. A new 18-hole disc golf course gives the Wright State community additional recreation options during the pandemic, so be sure to check that out as well. Frisbee golf has been becoming a pretty big thing here lately.
Is it because of the Frisbee golf course on campus?
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
new course from what the article was saying.
Golf.
The National Air and Space Intelligence Center is holding a career event at Wright State on November 9th. The event will feature a panel discussion with National Air and Space Intelligence Center professionals who are College of Liberal Arts alumni. So be sure to check that out. Wright State is celebrating International Education Week amid surge of new international students. Cultural and study abroad events, the President's International Education Award ceremony, and a Diwali celebration highlight International Education Week, which is November 1st through 5th at Wright State this week.
Also, I saw an announcement on Wings where the center is actually doing this thing where if you book a passport appointment, you can get a discount this week. So that's really great if you're looking to get a passport.
Very cool. All right. Well, this concludes the Wednesday edition of the Right Morning Show on WWSU Radio. We're going to go ahead and start closing off the show. So thank you, Jamie, for coming on the show this morning.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. You can tune into the Right Morning Show every Tuesday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on WWSU Radio. Coming up next on WWSU from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. is Democracy Now! From Amy Goodman and Juan Gonzalez. So get the latest global and national news headlines and special guest interviews. From 1 to 2 p.m., we have Shay Neal's On the Horizon. Listen to some latest in the sports world from Shay Neal. From 3 to 4 p.m., we have the Guardian Media Group doing the Raider Report. So get more campus news and special guest interviews. And then finally, from 4 to 6 p.m., we have the Dayton Scene Radio Show by David Webb. So get your funk music groove on this evening. Those are the shows that are happening at WWSU Radio. Final check of the weather. It is clear, 34 degrees. It's going to be clear for most of the day, but then we're going to have some clouds roll in this evening. Temperatures are going to a peak at 46 degrees and then start cooling off into the upper 20s overnight. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in today. We will be back again tomorrow morning. Have a great day.